This is weird.
From the land of conjurers flying through the internet to your device like a UAP, hauntingly unexplained and downright weird, this is the Witching Hours, and we are ready to take off in the flash of an eye. Good evening to one and all, wherever and whenever you are listening to this program. I am Frosty, and joining me, as always, is the medium Ginny Lee. How are you doing, Ginny?
I'm doing okay. How about yourself?
Hanging in there on a Monday. I have no clue what day of the week it is. Ever since last Friday, I have decided to
summer break now.
Wander into this mystical place of time and space where I just exist from a day-to-day basis, and
such a nice time.
It's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. So yeah, that's what I'll continue to do for a little while, is just wonder what the hell is supposed to go on that day, because I have no clue what day of the week it is. All right. So, hope everyone is out there is doing great tonight. Welcome in for another episode of the Witching Hours. We got a great show for you tonight, so get buckled up and find yourself a little snacky snack and something to drink, and we're going to have a great conversation tonight. Welcome in, everyone. We got a lot to talk about coming up, that's starting to come up soon now. The first thing I want to mention is that we are on the Spirit Realm Network, so make sure that you go follow the Spirit Realm Network on Facebook, and you can check us live there, as well as our live stream on YouTube, and of course our first home, which is on Twitch. So you can look at us and find us in any of those platforms, and feel free to do that. One favor I do have to ask is, wherever you're watching us, if you have some kind of thing that you can click or leave a review or like or subscribe or whatever, feel free to do that. It does help us out. It helps more people find our episodes, and that's always a good thing. So we appreciate you for doing that.
And then guess what, guys? Today's the first day of June. How did we get here? It's like that Talking Heads song.
Yeah.
Since about 2020. That's been my song. How did we get here? Anyway, Team Weird Takeovers coming up this month, you guys. Join us at the Lord Baltimore. Yeah. Join us at the Lord Baltimore Hotel in Baltimore, Maryland, June 27th to 28th, with many amazing guests, of which we have one on tonight. Priestess of Wonderland will be there. You can buy your tickets for $60. There's still some available over at thewitchinghourspodcast.com. You click on the merch button. I'll take you to get your ticket.
It's crazy because we've been planning this thing pretty much for a year now.
We started planning it as soon as the other one was done.
On our drive back from West Virginia last year, we started planning next year's. So this has been a long time in the making. So we're looking forward to seeing everyone there and just having a fun time.
Yeah,
being able to hang out with everyone, to chill out and do some woo-woo stuff and some spooky stuff and some good food stuff and all those things.
Hangout time.
We won't talk about it yet, but we've already started planning for 2027. So.
I know, you can't help yourself. You're a mess.
So we'll talk about that. We'll wait for this one to be over.
Please, can we?
All right. You ready for the weird news, Jenny?
Yes, sir.
I do want to preface tonight's weird news, by saying that a lot of these were sent by medium Ginny Lee herself this week. So if you don't like the news, you can blame.
Before you start the news, if you've got a spooky shop, haunted attraction, paranormal book, or a strange little business of your own, you can sponsor the Witching Hours. We offer host-read ads, like I'm reading right now, of the weird news for the weird news segment. You can find the pricing and details at witchinghourspodcast.com. Come get weird with us.
All right. So the first story tonight is,
just so you know, I never read the stories that I send you. I just see the little title and the picture, and then I send it to you. So if they suck,
well,
I'm going to say I didn't actually read them.
Which
Okay,
is
anyway,
even worse.
continue.
Archaeologists baffled by mysterious ancient island at the bottom of a Scottish loch. The discovery of a wooden man-made island in Scotland dating to the Bronze Age is stumping UK archaeologists who say it could be as old as Stonehenge. The
Wow.
ancient structure found buried in Loch Borgastale, I have no
Sure.
clue if I'm pronouncing that right, on the Isle of Lewis is a type of structure known as a crannog and was built thousands of years ago, although scientists have no clues to how or exactly why such platforms were built in the first place.
It's crazy that it's lasted that long being made
Mhm.
of wood in the water.
Well, it eventually had a stone structure that was built on top of it, but underneath
Okay.
it was a timber structure that appears to be below the stone island that's there today.
Hmm.
The exact purpose of these remains unknown, but it was significant labor and resources required for construction
Yeah.
that indicate they were built by complex communities and held great importance. Hundreds of them have been found in the region and are suspected to have possibly been used for community gatherings, including feasts, celebrations, suggesting advanced societies of the time. Um,
Hmm.
Circular wooden platform about 75 feet across that was added onto over the centuries. The dates are aligning to the original structure being built about 3,500 to 3,300 BCE.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. We had talked about another wooden structure in here that dated back like even further back than that.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
I think we're finding now this whole idea that we have of I'm drawing a blank right now.
Like the hunter
And it's like the
gatherers.
Neolithic,
Yeah.
yeah, like the
Yeah.
Neolithic
Mhm.
period is like much different than I think than what
Yeah.
historians
False.
thought it was. This idea that they were just like hunter gatherers with no organization and no city. I mean, we've already found now
Wrong.
that that's starting to change on all the continents, by the way,
Yes.
with
Hmm.
Cahokia and all kinds of different things that we're finding, even though Cahokia isn't quite that old. But anyway, very interesting. Story number 2, UFO insider claims U.S. has bodies of 4 different alien species. New claims that the United States has recovered remains of 4 separate species of alien life are sending shockwaves throughout UFO disclosure movement, further drumming up conversations surrounding the government's knowledge of otherworldly life. Dr. Hal Puthoff, I imagine many are familiar with him, a CIA funded researcher and former Advanced Aerospace Weapons Systems Applications Program Advisor,
I thought I had a long title at work.
right? Announced, yeah, it's just as long as you want to make it. We can give ourselves both some really long titles for the show if you want to. To both derogatory and non-derogatory. Announced the new revelation while appearing at a UFO roundtable on Steve Bartlett's The Diary of CEO podcast, alongside Age of Disclosure director Dan Farrell last week.
Hmm.
Puthoff claimed that the federal officials have recovered 4 separate types of extraterrestrial life from various UFOs. While Puthoff did not elaborate on the specific types of suspected alien species, his former colleague, Dr. Eric Davis, previously revealed they included Nordics, Greys, insectoids, and reptilians.
And then we can pull out our Michael Schratt hat and say, where are the bodies?
Yeah, where are the
Show us,
bodies?
show us the bodies.
Where's the footage?
Yeah.
You know, not to disparage anybody who comes forward because, I want to see as many whistleblowers as possible. But, when everyone's a CIA
Yeah.
intelligence officer, I don't know what to do with that information,
Can't trust
especially when
them.
when it's been documented, like literal hard evidence that the CIA has used disinformation campaigns to spread false information in the UFO communities. Ice cream trucks going by the way. Or
Yeah, you run out there real quick.
like, like a little.
Our child is probably losing her mind right now, just so you know.
See them running down the street after the ice cream truck.
Confused awareness.
Yeah.
It's confused awareness. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just maybe Hal Putoff is doing absolutely amazing work, but it's just everyone who's coming forward right now is from the CIA, and it's
Yeah.
just I don't know what to do with that information. But we've talked about that quite a bit. Number
Mhm.
3, whistleblower claims CIA used DNA data from Ancestry.com and 23andMe customers in search for aliens. They're going to find you, Jenny. Apparently, the government isn't
I don't know
disclosing
if I have any alien
everything
DNA.
it knows about UFOs. A whistleblower has accused the CIA of attempting to use sites like 23andMe and Ancestry.com to uncover people with extraterrestrial DNA in their makeup.
I can hear my dad right now saying that's why he never wanted he never wanted to do it.
He never wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if they're using it for that, you can imagine what else they're using it for.
Right.
The CIA wants to hunt them down. Novelist Jason Riza Georgiani, PhD, said while discussing the so-called top secret government program. They claim that he was alerted to this bug hunting initiative by Army veteran Lynn Buchanan, who claims he was a psychic spy with the CIA's remote viewing program.
Good old
There's
CIA.
the CIA for you.
Everybody's favorite friend.
Yeah. They had informed that former CIA analyst and UAP specialist Christopher Green had devised a backdoor way of accessing 23andMe and Ancestry, popular sites that break down users' family trees to screen users for specific genetic variants linked to non-human beings. They live in small towns like in the Colorado Rockies, and they pass because they look like tall Scandinavian people.
You're screwed, Ben Frosty.
Yeah, I don't know. I did not have any Pleiadian come back in my Ancestry.com though. It was just like Norwegian and English.
What
and
if they just
Scottish.
take it out because it's like junk DNA?
Yeah,
So you don't even
it's
know.
junk DNA.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Maybe so. Maybe
Yeah.
so. All right. Story number 4. NASA announces its first steps in bids to begin building a base on the moon. An event on Tuesday.
McDonald's on the moon. Here we go.
NASA revealed more about its plans to build a base on the moon and detailed some of the missions that will take place even before Artemis 4 lands, the first humans there since the Apollo era. The first mission, Moonbase 1, will launch this fall with the goal of landing cargo on the moon using Blue Origin's Blue Moon Mark 1 Endurance lander. It will also carry out tests and experiments.
Round 2 is going to take up the Golden Arches.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It will carry out tests and experiments long before any humans
you guys
arrive.
Think I'm joking. Go ahead, Frosty. I keep interrupting.
Then later this year, Moonbase 2 and Moonbase 3 will land additional payloads. These will reportedly be the first of more than a dozen lunar missions that will take place ahead of Artemis 4 while providing foundational work in preparation of a new McDonald's. During the event, NASA has also revealed details of a new lunar rover, lander, and orbiter design.
They're going to try out the just robot one for that. Yeah.
Maybe so. Maybe it'll only have robot customers too. I don't know.
Maybe. Anyway.
So there we go. Going back to the moon. Basically all these moon base 1, 2, 3 are all going to be basically taking the materials up to the moon. So
we can hop, skippity jump over to Mars.
All the stuff will be there when Artemis 4 gets there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then the last story for tonight, man lives with a 5-inch wooden branch in his eye socket for a year and a half.
I did not send this one. Don't look at me with your eye branch eye. What the
50-year-old Yuri, a resident of Ryansk, a small town in Russia's Kursk region, was chopping maple branches in his garden when he suddenly felt a sharp pain in his left eye. He wasn't wearing protective goggles, so he immediately realized that a piece of wood must have struck his eye. Yeah. But because the pain eventually subsided, he figured it wasn't a serious injury. Time passed, and Yuri forgot all about the woodcutting incident, but he continued to experience occasional flashes of pain and discomfort in his left eye. He even sought medical help, but the treatments prescribed by various doctors didn't seem to help much. In fact, none of them could even tell him what the source of his discomfort was. 3 months ago, Yuri's condition worsened. The discomfort had become almost unbearable, and he also started losing vision in his left eye. Earlier this month, the 50-year-old man arrived at the Kursk Regional Hospital With blurred vision, and doctors performed an MRI that revealed a long foreign body that extended from the man's eye socket deep into his skull.
Holy moly.
There's a picture of the news story I could put in Discord of
No,
the
thank
branch
you.
itself.
Don't.
But
Wow.
they were able to remove it from his nose, and
Okay, good.
and he's doing okay. But they said like it was like right like lodged, like if any movement could have occurred, it could have given him brain damage and stuff. But he just managed. He's fine, despite.
Children, this is why we wear eye protection. Put your goggles on.
I'm just trying to figure out how you get 5 inches of stick in your eye without realizing that happened.
Yeah.
I could see like, some
That's
sawdust or like a wood chip hitting your eye and being like, "Oh man," like, I'll have to
that's
flush
a
it out or
man
something.
thing for you. I'm just gonna walk it off. Rub some dirt on it. I don't need to go to the doctor. What are they gonna do about it? Right, Frosty?
Are you trying to call me out?
Yes, I am. That's another story for another day.
That
Anyway,
was the weird news.
And now, guess what? We've already mentioned it. It's June 1st, which means Priestess of Wonderland is here to give us a moon update for June.
How's your eye doing, Allison?
My eye is just fine, and I had the same thought. Like, how do you not know when it went in?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
You got a lot of magic wands and stuff over there, and you have never had any magic wand accidents.
No shards of gemstone.
Shards of wands lodged.
Well, I don't know. I've never had an MRI. Maybe who knows what they might find in there.
Yikes.
Yeah.
So we're in Gemini season. What does this hold with the moon phases for us right now?
It holds good news this month. Finally. June and July feel really good. We've got a couple of like negative things happening or wonky things happening, but like nothing compared to the year that we've been through already, astrologically speaking. So like you said, it is Gemini sun season, and then the second half of June is Cancer season. So we've got the fun, playful summertime energy, and then we have the self-care, loving, caring, nurturing part of the summer. Mm-hmm. So we just had our full moon in Sagittarius, technically in May 31st, we had our full moon in Sagittarius. And then June 1st, this first week, Mercury moves into Cancer. And like a lot, so the theme of June is very much like, how are you taking care of yourself? How are you taking care of the people that you care about? How are we taking care of our community? Because Mercury moves into Cancer at the beginning of June. And the biggest thing happening this month is happening next week, June 9th. Venus and Jupiter are conjoining in Cancer. And Jupiter is the planet of growth and expansion and luck and abundance. And Venus is like love and relationships and connecting to people. And this is happening in the loving, caring, nurturing sign of Cancer. So next week, if you do anything this month, next week, think something positive. This is like a day to manifest something big, something where I hope that we see something big and positive finally on the news, not branches and eyes and bombs being dropped, but like something good, something positive.
We had our team word meetup yesterday, and the things that you're saying were in our meetup.
Oh, wow.
Bringing back the whole like we need to be making sure that we're taking care of each other and community, and like a huge thing happening very soon, but no word of what it was. It was just like, wow. But it was all pointing to it being something positive. Well, so good. the moon is also giving us this information. I love it.
Right. And so Venus and Jupiter are meeting in Cancer next week. And then Venus moves into Leo, and then Jupiter is going to move into Leo at the end of the month. So Jupiter's been in Cancer for quite some time. So I think like as these last or these next few weeks while Jupiter's still in Cancer might bring up stuff like, how are you taking care of yourself? How are you taking care of your community? Because it just seems like when a planet shifts into a new sign, it's like sometimes it seems like it brings stuff up of the sign that it's moving out of, that like any last minute things that you want to like get in really quick before we move into Leo, you should do it now within the next few weeks. But when Jupiter moves into Leo, this is a whole, I think it's in a sign for around 2.5 years, 3 years. So Jupiter in Leo brings this whole new perspective of growth and expansion and abundance from the perspective of Leo, which is, taking care of your community, taking care of your kingdom, being the leader of your own world or being the leader of your community, having nice, frivolous, comfortable things, because Leo is like the royalty. Leo is the sun and the center of everything. It's the king. So like having Jupiter be in that sign for a couple
We're
of years.
We're not just saying that because we're Leos.
No. Right. Right. But I don't know. I'm hoping that like this is a really big shift that we're going to be experiencing the next few years in a positive way. Finally, because all of the other things that we've been experiencing astrologically this year has been really difficult things. So having finally something positive, and not just something positive that's just going to happen. Like, yes, Venus and Jupiter coming together, that's just happening once. But this is going to be something that can like ripple and affect for the next few years.
That sounds lovely.
Yes.
Yes,
and
please.
Let's see, June 14th, we're having our Gemini new moon, which is happening at the last few days of the Gemini sun season. Before the sun moves into Cancer. So a Gemini new moon is, I really feel like a Gemini new moon, it's important to use your words to manifest the things that you want. Gemini likes to talk about it and have the conversation. It's kind of about like seeing the other side of something and not judging the other side of something, but it's all about communication and talking about it, coming to a compromise. And so when we're talking about a new moon and setting your intentions for the next month, you're like, use your words, write them out. I want this, especially while we're having all of this positive energy that is hopefully going to help us manifest the things that we want to manifest. The positive things that we want to manifest.
He wants to know if there's anything that stands out for June 2nd or June 3rd.
This was a question from our Team Weird meetup last night, but
well, I mean, Mercury is moving into Cancer on the 1st. But nothing specific is happening.
You'll be very proud of me. I looked it up, and there's a long void of course, like almost a 24-hour void of course from the 2nd to the 3rd.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That was the only weird thing.
We were trying to discuss what this.
How often does that happen where it's that long?
Well, real quick, Janine. Real quick, you should probably explain what that is.
Void of course is when the moon is not in a sign.
Okay.
So when it's moving from one sign to the next.
Yeah.
And I have been trying to figure out why. It's different every time. Sometimes it can be a few minutes, it can be a few hours, it can be, like you said, 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And this year we've had a lot of very long ones, and I really have no idea why. I thought I had finally figured it out because we have one week. It might be this week. I can't remember. There was 1 week where I noticed that the moon was taking a long time to get into a sign at the opposite end of the year. For example, like the sun is in Gemini right now. When the moon moves into Gemini, I would think, hey, maybe because we're already in Gemini, that it would only take a few hours or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but when the moon moves into Sagittarius, which is the opposite end of the year, I was like, oh, that's why it takes so long. But it was only 1 week where it worked out. So that theory is debunked, but I really have no idea. I just thought, well, it makes sense that if we're close, if the sun is in this season, all the signs close to that constellation, I don't know. I really have no idea.
It was a good theory. There you go.
But when
We
you
don't
pay
really know.
attention to the void of course times, you do notice there's like this void, like this absence of an energy. And I think having those long ones, we really feel it.
Yeah.
But I have no idea why. I've been trying to figure it out for quite some time now.
Anyway, we were at like what, June 14th is where we stopped at.
Yeah. So the next big thing happening is Chiron is moving into Taurus. Chiron is the wounded healer. It's the things that we like, the really difficult things that we kind of have to learn over and over again throughout our life. And again, like I was saying about Jupiter, when the planets change signs, it seems like something really comes up around that time, and it's like a closing out of the Chiron in Taurus, or Chiron in Aries, and moving into Taurus. And personally, so Chiron has been in Aries since February of 2019, which I feel like since February of 2019, so many crazy things have happened in my life personally, like very difficult.
The whole world.
The whole world. And
Yeah.
so I'm really hoping that Chiron moving into Taurus is again going to bring in some comfort and earthiness and groundedness, and like that, because Chiron and Aries just felt painful. It felt like a blade cutting.
It's burning us. It's burning.
And so that's the big thing happening the week of June 15th, or that's happening on the 19th.
That sounds
and then
good.
The sun moves into Cancer June 21st. Mars moves into Gemini at the end of the month. And I don't know how much detail you want me to go into Team Weird Takeover week, but we are just missing the start of Mercury retrograde, because Mercury is going retrograde June 29th.
Excellent.
So
just enough time for everybody to get home first.
Wonderful. Yeah. Everybody get home.
We planned that out really well.
Yep. And there's going to be a full moon June 29th. So while we're at Team Weird Takeover, it's going to be almost full when we're there.
Cool.
Well, you're going to be our guest the week of Team Weird Takeover. So we can get heavily into maybe just breaking that whole week down.
Sounds good.
Next. Yeah. Excellent.
So definitely the beginning of June, like dream big and wish for all the good things to happen and the community to come together, because it's just the most perfect time astrologically to be feeling that way.
Good.
Finally something good this year.
We keep getting those messages. I mean, that was like the message for 2026 for us in a lot of ways when we did our prediction show and everything.
Right. Yeah. Like needing to stick together. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's all true. We've been talking to a lot of people about that, and a lot of people are having to, increasing their public social, friends connections and getting off the screen a little bit, at least a little bit, to have more connections with community and things like that. So it's been good.
Yeah. All right, Allison, thank you so much for the June update. I'm so glad it's not a dumpster fire this time. All right, we'll see you later. Bye.
All right. I do want to mention real quick before we get going, I was looking at our updates here. I wanted to thank Norse for resubscribing for 30 months. They've been subscribed for 29 months.
Wow.
Keisha Mama reached a 25 stream streak. Our wonderful, one of our wonderful mods, and also co-producer for the show. Yeah. We appreciate it. And Shadow Max resubscribed for 9 months. They've been subscribed for 26 months.
And Luce had a 3-year mod anniversary on Twitch.
I know. I think I was in chat. I saw you mentioned that you had never seen that before, but I didn't know what that was. So that's crazy.
What it was. 3-year Twitch mod anniversary. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Luce, and congrats on that anniversary. Thank you so much. And thank you to everybody. We appreciate it so much. It caused a little hype train thing to go on that I didn't even know was happening. So there we go. Thank you. Okay. Beth Montgomery is a certified death doula, elder care doula, and end-of-life planner with a goal to bring compassion, clarity, and support to individuals navigating the intricate journey of death, dying, and grief. As a skilled facilitator and Reiki master, Beth weaves together expertise and intuition to empower individuals to embrace their mortality with grace and intention. Please welcome to the show, Death Doula Beth. How are you doing, Beth?
Good. How are you guys? Thank you so much for having me on.
Are you okay if we shout out that it's your birthday? I already
Yeah.
said it. Sorry. Happy birthday, Beth.
Yeah, there we go.
Spending your birthday with the witching hours.
Nowhere else I'd rather be. My whole body just got real hot because I'm one of those types of people that's like, don't talk about my birthday. I don't have a birthday.
Sorry, Beth.
It's okay.
I think it's fun to make sure that we celebrate those milestones. So anyway, thank you for coming on the show, especially on your birthday.
And I'm already like, we're going to see Masters of the Universe. And this is where I want to eat.
Rusty's planning out all his birthday things.
I love it. I'm going to get there
someday. All right, Beth, for people who don't know, what is a death doula?
So a death doula is a non-medical professional who aids in medical transition. So when you hear the word doula, most people often think of a birthing doula, right? But we're the opposite side, you know. Frosty just won a party. It's fun to see all the chat. And so, you know, death doulas, we help with the stuff that people don't really want to talk about. You know, because we want to talk about births and weddings and graduations. But when we talk about death and dying, you know, and grieving, that's stuff that we're like, oh, no, we can't. No, we just can't talk about that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And that seems to be more of a Western kind of philosophy. Is it, you know, I'm sure that you've studied it way more than we have. To me, it seems like the Eastern philosophies and cultures have a different approach to death. And do you know more about that?
It's a worldwide phenomenon. For most cultures all across the world, people don't usually talk about death and dying. Really? But there are some cultures that embrace it, you know? Like India, there's certain cultures that, you know, the whole family gathers and the person who has died is now on display and they get to say, you know, their memories of that person. They put flowers there. They get to hug and hold and you know, like in Mexico, they have like altars and they incorporate people like that have passed on their ancestors and they leave, you know, like their favorite meals and their favorite desserts and their drinks. And, you know, it's just and there's even pockets of people in, you know, the Western hemisphere that embrace it and that love it. And those are the people I like to talk to because let's talk about it.
So did you want to ask a question for us?
Well, no, I was just in a comment, you know, on the fact that maybe not so much like Western culture, but like looking at time instead of location, because if you just go back, you know, 150 years or whatever, you know, we were having those parlor, you know, death photography, you know, people were being, you know, prepared by the family and put on display in the home. So, I mean, I think America had a culture of that. It just doesn't seem to be so prevalent now.
Yeah. What happened was the Civil War happened. Right. And so the funeral directors were like, oh, we can take care of it all. We can embalm them. So your soldiers come back in a better state than they are because decomposition happens fairly quickly. And so they were like, oh, you know what? We can actually have it in our home. So you don't have to lift a finger. And so it became a convenience thing. And then that convenience became the norm. And it became so normalized that now we don't think of anything else. Whereas like today, you still have the autonomy to do more with your loved one after they've died than we even know. So I like to break the stigma over that as well. And you can still do a home funeral. Yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot.
That's actually one thing I do want to bring up maybe later in the show, because I saw when I was looking through your website about some of the things that a death doula can provide are like more options and stuff for the family that maybe they're not even aware of. And I guess I should preface our whole discussion tonight by the fact that we're coming out of a time frame, me and Jenny specifically, but it seems like a lot of other people we know where we have had a lot of death recently. And so there's a lot of questions that it actually works out to be really great timing, because there's a lot of questions that we do have coming out of this. So some of your knowledge is going to be great for that. But thank you. But so I guess that's one of the things we could kind of start with. Or I know for a lot of people that I talk to, kind of the traditional way of way things are handled in burial doesn't seem to be the best. What are other options for ways that people can be, um, like what happens to the body afterwards?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I do want to just say to anyone who's hurting or who has experienced a recent loss, I'm just holding you in my heart because it is really hard. And so thank you for allowing me to be a part of this conversation.
Thank you, Beth.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So there's a lot of different options to do something with your body afterwards, right? Because I had that problem too. I love the eco-friendliness, where we have like trash pile islands like in the ocean, and I don't want to contribute to that. And we have thousands and thousands of pounds of concrete in the earth because of the vaults. When someone gets buried traditionally, they have to have a vault because, well, if you don't, then the earth will cave in because the coffin concaves, and then you have a divot, and that's not really nice for the cemetery. So there's a lot of different options out there. One of the most common is the cremation. That one is also, it can be kind of bad for the environment as well, because the mercury that we have in our environment now is from cremations and the mercury in people's teeth going into
Really?
which is
wow.
why. So another alternative, which is not legal in all states, is a water cremation.
What is that?
So they essentially put you in this like vault, and it heated up with water, and they put some chemicals in there that breaks down the body naturally. It all is eco-friendly, and it goes right down the toilet and the drain. And
You're getting flushed down the toilet, Frosty. That's it. We're doing it. It's like you're like a goldfish.
Well, just the fleshy parts,
Yeah.
But then you're left with the bones, which is then white instead of ashy gray.
Yeah.
And people are getting these remains back, the cremation remains, that are white instead of gray. And some people don't want to think about getting burned, right? And so water is the goldfish treatment. I see you, Luce. And some people like the idea of water and returning back to earth in that sort of sense. Another option is green burial. So you have different levels to that, right? So a lot of green burial sites are across, but to be truly green burial, there's no embalming. You're wrapped in a shroud. You're put in biodegradable material, whether it's a shroud only or you have like a coffin. And you can find these on Amazon. You can buy a coffin on Amazon. You can also buy biodegradable.
You can get anything on Amazon, apparently.
Anything on Amazon, yes. And an urn and all kinds of stuff. One of my favorite companies that does biodegradable material is Passages International, which you can go on there right now and buy your urn, or you can buy another urn for someone that you loved, which is really beautiful. They have a lot of great options. And I know that a lot of people are like, I want to be buried at sea. So if you're cremated and you want to be put at sea, they have this beautiful sea turtle that just sort of like goes out to sea, and like it goes down, and the bag is biodegradable that you put them in. The sea turtle is biodegradable, so it's good for the fishies, it's good for the earth, it's good for the environment. And that's one way.
We actually did that with my grandparents. They died in the same year, like maybe I guess it was about 6 months apart. And my mom found the biodegradable boxes, and they both had a water cremation ceremony, which was great. I wanted to go back for a second to the water cremation. So once all the bones are, it's just bones. What happens with the bones? What do people usually do with them after that?
Yeah, so it's the same with any cremation, with either the fire or the water. They get put in a simulator. All your metal parts and pieces get removed with a magnet, and then they put you in a cremulator, which is how you get the powder.
Okay.
If you have someone that's been cremated years and years and years past, it's not uncommon for them to still have pieces and fragments of bone. And if you experience that, you can also go to your local crematory or funeral home to get that ground down so that you're able to have ashes instead of fragments. Yeah.
Don't get any ideas, Jenny. I know where you're going with this. They have to cremate the bones. She just wants
Frost-
my bones.
Frosty is so like his name on Twitch before used to be Giant of the Frost Giant, and he really is a giant. And I always said I would be really fascinating to just see what your bones look like because they have to be massive. So I was just I was thinking
Yeah, she's
instead of
trying to figure out how to get me
them burning them.
hung up around the house for Halloween decoration.
You guys just do the goldfish thing, and then I'll take the bones.
Oh, yeah, like Kristen bones. And when you think of it, you're like, oh, it like falls off the bone, just like right. But it's not like that.
No,
Your bones get brittle, because
yeah.
it takes all the breakdown down. And even in a cremation, but you're able to, like, I did this with my dog. I had to put her down last year in April.
Aw.
And I was able to sit with her while she got cremated. And we can do
Oh,
that
wow.
with our human people too. And so when, after she was done, I was like, I'm going to see what it looks like. And I mean, it doesn't really look like anything because the bones are so brittle at that point that it's breaking down. But you are able to see it. And I do have I have a tooth. I don't know how, I mean, it's good for the audience that I can say it to because you have a weird news segment.
Yes, we are weird. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, tooth of hers,
That's a tooth. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
That is
going back to the green burials, so you can get the biodegradable stuff, but the whole body goes in that, like the shroud. And then, like, are there certain places around that allow burials without all the other junk?
Yeah, you have to really pay attention because each state is different. And then depending on the state, depends on, oh, thank you, Adam. Depends on where you are, right? So I'm in Pennsylvania. There's a lot of true green burial sites. And I'm trying to think of the website. It's Green Burial Society or Council. And they have a list of all the true green burial sites that you can get buried in. And there's one that I had posted on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. And I was like, do you want to tour a green burial site with me? And it literally looks like a garden. And the headstones are stones that they found on property or from the properties of those who, they were like, this stone came from our property. And so they're able to etch their name and their, whatever they want on there.
Cool. Because that's really what Frosty really wanted. We've talked about, we've been together for 30 years, so we've talked about a lot of stuff. But like he's talked about like wanting to be just put in the earth and like have a tree grow from him,
Yeah.
So it's nice to know that
it just always seems really hard to accomplish,
Yeah.
Just in my light amount.
Yeah. Does it seem like it's a harder process to have that kind of a burial compared to the traditional?
No. Nope. Okay. It all takes pre-planning and having a conversation. There are some funeral homes that are true green burial or funeral homes that will help with that planning process. Cool. You can talk to a death doula who
Beth,
or another death doula because there's plenty of death doulas out there, right? And so to just talk about it and to know your options is one of the first big steps. I will say, those pods where it showed like the person at the bottom and then the tree growing on top. We're not going to do that because that you'll burn the tree because of the decomp, up as we decomp,
Okay, yeah.
And then it'll kill the tree, and people don't want to see a dead tree. It's not a really comforting thing. Yeah. So there's other options.
Oh no, this tree's dead now too. Yeah, that would be terrible.
For those particular, like for the Green Burial Cemetery that was near, I just moved, so the one that was near me, they'll wait till the decomp is done, and then they'll plant the tree.
And they'll do a tree. That makes sense.
Yeah, so there is still possibility. We just don't want to do it right after someone is put into the earth.
I didn't know that we heat up when we were falling apart.
Going back to the earth.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, everything's energy, and we have a lot of energy within us. Like us humans, we are capable of so many things, right? And so we heat up, of course, because giving out all this energy back to the earth, back to where we came from, back to, source. No matter if you're embalmed or, at the bottom of the ocean or, wherever you might be, we all return back to energy source. Yeah. Our life returns. Yeah.
That's interesting. That brings up, I don't want to get too off topic here, but that brings up some interesting questions about like the idea that there's, especially for us in our woo woo world here, about like returning and, very quickly an intelligence that seems to be able to be reachable outside of the body, but still this energy, obviously, that still has to wait a certain amount of time before it's released because of the decomposition process. So that's something I never thought of before, that there's also a time for all of the energy. Like, there's a time period
That our
for
physical
that.
bodies have energy in them still also.
Mhm.
And even if someone has been embalmed, they still decompose, like they're still decomp. And so there's nothing that can prevent that or stop that. We all return back to original source. We all go back to Earth in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And yeah. There's a lot of other cool facts. I can ramble on about it so much about green burials, like how it's not as deep and it's not as like, and family can come and, help with the process and wrapping the person in the shroud, which is really meaningful. There's also some places have horse-drawn carriages or even people-drawn carriages. So it's like no motorized vehicles are allowed on the space, which is like a true green burial site.
Yeah, right. Beautiful. They're thinking about all of the things being green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Speaking of green, there's also a terramation that you could do, which is returning back to Earth as soil. And so you're put in this, like, it looks like a big upright freezer, but they put you on organic material, and then you go through the process, and then they grind the bones down, and then you return back to your family as soil, either 500 pounds of you or just a 5-pound bag.
Wow.
And it doesn't matter how big or small or whatever, you're 500 pounds of soil at the end. So if you are like, no, I don't want all 500 pounds of
yeah,
I would. They do beautification, so they put it into the parks local to them to revitalize the parks and everything. So,
wow, I never heard of that one.
Yep, it's like a big compost bin.
That's interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
So then that would be maybe even a better way of, if you wanted to be the food for something new to grow, to do that instead of the pod with the tree thing coming out of it. Yeah.
It's all personal preference.
Yeah.
I will say that the terramation does take a little bit longer. So
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas like some people just want to go visit a site, and plant flowers and trees. But at the terramation site, you're able to go to that person's locker, decorate them with like, pictures and letters, and they can even be processed, is what they call it, with letters and biodegradable material. So it's a beautiful process what you can do.
Luce said, big compost bin, let's let the trash pandas come too.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So funny.
Yeah.
That is funny. We got to have a little bit of humor,
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
We have to have a little bit of humor.
That's what makes all of it bearable, I think.
Yeah, Kel said I want it to be planted as a tree as well. I think that kind of stuff is becoming a little bit more popular. And then Adam said, talking about us being energy, this is something I've thought about many times, where if us humans will evolve to us being just an energy form, if that makes sense. Well, I guess that's a little bit about what we're talking about tonight. The energy, this is scientific, you can get into the intelligence of it all, but it's a scientific law, right? That energy, cannot be gotten rid of. Like energy continues to exist and it just moves into different forms, whether it's thermodynamic or whatever. Law of thermodynamics, I guess. So
we're not even solid. I mean, go down to the microscopic level. We're all just atoms, like kind of put together. Yeah. And I'm just put together in this form, and you're put together in that form, and you're put together in that form. And so, like,
but stuff can pass through us.
Exactly.
Because we're not a solid, there's like space. It actually gets pretty crazy if you get down to like how far apart like electrons and protons and neutrons are apart from each other,
Mm-hmm.
it's like there's a whole lot of space there. Like that's not even matter. Yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to know about funeral pyres?
Of course, yes.
Well, yeah, I was thinking about that when you brought up the idea of being able to sit with someone while they're being cremated.
Yeah.
That was what I was going to ask was, well, that kind of goes back to the idea of the funeral pyre. So go ahead with that.
Yeah. So in Colorado specifically, you can have a funeral pyre, which is basically a big campfire, but you're the fire, you're the light of the show. And so they put you in a way so that, you know, when we're cremated, like our tendons and joints, they put us in a way that doesn't happen, because that would be, you know, a shock factor, and we don't want that. You know,
Yeah.
so what ends up happening is it starts off really kind of somber because, you know, we just lost somebody, but then, you know, memories, and when you're around a bonfire, you think of like telling stories and, you know, jokes and memories, and it becomes this beautiful party for this person. And then, you know, they're able to then take, you know, if someone brought, you know, a piece to put the remains in, they can put their loved one in there.
Yeah, they could just take it there. Well, after it's over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I wish that could be legal in more states. I think that's what I would go for.
Me too.
And so many of these things we're talking about are like things that would have been naturally done not that long ago.
Yeah.
That we just were doing anyway. Yeah.
Well, we still have a lot that we can do. It's just knowing what we can and cannot do.
Yeah.
You know, because I don't want to catch a felony charge.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Death
Yeah,
Doula,
come on
Beth
over.
Montgomery. So in tonight's news.
Come over on Friday night. We're gonna get the fire pit going. Grandpa just passed.
You'll be on your own.
We're not
here.
doing s'mores though. No s'mores.
No s'mores.
There are people that can be buried on their own property. I
Yeah.
talked to the funeral director, and he was like, yeah, the guy just wanted to be buried on his own property the day that he was, like, just like the day he was born, like naked. And I was like, how do you manage that? And they were like, well, you just do that. So, you know, you can, as best to their ability, you're able to honor your wishes. I mean, there's so many different options that are out there. Those are just like a few that are common.
Yeah, we have lots of private cemeteries in Virginia. I don't know the laws on whether they're like still, but like I know in the neighborhood that I grew up in when I was a teenager, we, you know, as teenagers do, go back into the woods and stuff. And there was a cemetery back in the woods. And then a couple years later, they decided they were going to tear down those woods and put it in a new neighborhood.
And they're like,
and
oh,
so there's a
cemetery
house,
here.
there's a house that got built with the little cemetery in their front yard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that happens. I mean, that's kind of the way things were done here for the longest time. So,
Right.
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Family plots on their own
Family
property.
plots all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Adam said he wants to be in space. Do we have any space burials
Ooh.
yet? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
I'm sure there are. It costs a lot of money.
Yeah. Adam,
And
save your pennies.
Save your pennies.
There was one that was just done not that long ago.
Oh, really?
I don't know I think that was the SpaceX. We talked about it in the Weird News, actually.
Oh, I forgot about it. Wow.
And you can even be buried in the sky, but you have to be part of like the sky regime or have something to do with being in aviation.
Oh.
Okay.
CMC, you know anything about that? He's our pilot man.
Yeah,
Huh.
there's a-
So many weird
Aviation
things I
specialist.
didn't know.
Yeah. The one thing I do know is the Viking funeral where you're put out into sea and then a flaming arrow be thrown at you.
Yeah.
That's illegal.
We can't do that.
Can't do that. Yeah.
Sorry, Frosty. It's goldfish. It's a goldfish treatment for you.
Yeah.
All right, so switching up the conversation a little bit. So what was your path, your journey of becoming a death doula?
Yeah. So I didn't wake up one day being like, I want to be a death doula. I want to
Yeah.
work with people who are dying. I was terrified of dying. Actually, I was terrified to the point where I had anxiety. My parents never talked about it. It was one of those things where, the first time I experienced the death in the family was my grandmother, and I was like really close to her, and I was like so messed up about it, like twisted up like a pretzel, and nobody talked about it after. Went to her funeral, boom, done. We don't talk about grandma anymore.
Wow.
And so I was like, what do I was like 12 years old, my mind goes to all kinds of different places. I have a really good imagination. So the next time I experienced a death in front of me I was 35, right? Someone that was really close. And I knew that he was on hospice. I knew that he was dying, but I didn't know that that was going to be the day of his death. And so we were visiting every day, and hospice nurse was there, and he was up and talking and stuff, and I didn't know it was going to be the last day that he was going to be here with us. And so I would give him a massage, or just hold his hand, and then he started really going downhill super fast. And I remember like we were all doing the right things, right? Putting our hands on him, telling him we loved him, that it was okay to go, all the right things. But the type of cancer that he had and the way that he died, sometimes it's not pretty. And I was face to face with this man, watching him labor out of this life, and the way that he died was not really pretty. And it was traumatizing to me. And I remember just standing in between two worlds, the adult children in the kitchen, just shell-shocked, not knowing what to do or what to say. They were just quiet, looking off into space. And then in the living room was his now widowed wife and his body and the hospice nurse. And I was like, what do I do? How am I feeling? What should I like? And I just vowed in that moment to never, ever, ever be in that position again, or have a loved one be in that position. And so from that moment on, I researched everything about the death dying process. I was like, what did I just see? How could things be different? What's the hospice process like? What does an unintended death look like? What's that process like? What are different options for burials? What are different options for, like, just went off into anything and everything I could consume about that. And then I came across the word death doula, and I was like, oh, I felt that in my heart, my spirit. And I was like, it feels like something I should do. And I was like, who am I? I only saw 2 deaths in my entire life of someone that I'm close to. Maybe I need to get more experience. And I talked to a death doula, a hospice nurse before, but she let me book a call with her. And I was talking to her about all my like concerns. I'm like, I'm not a hospice nurse. And she's like, you don't need to be. And I was like, well, I haven't seen a lot of deaths. I've only seen 2. And she's like, that's all you really need. And I said, well, who am I to be doing this work? And she said, you're the perfect person to do this work, because you have the heart and the spirit to do this. And you have the desire to lean into spaces where
the passion to make it better for others.
And so Death Doula Beth was born. Actually, that was after a whole lot of business coaching, and because I did the training. You don't have to be you don't have to have a certification to be a death doula. It is recommended, highly recommended, but you don't have to. And I don't know where I was going with that, but I decided to go through the certification process, and I learned about pre-planning. I learned about the death doula work. I learned about elder care, and and then I was like all like ready to go, and I burnt myself out real fast, because there's a lot of help that's needed out there, and there's not many people that want to go into that space. And then the energy of like, can I charge for this work? Like, how do I charge for this work? Who am I to charge for this work? And so like I really had to work on that part of my business of like, if I want to do this work in a way that is like healing for these families that I'm serving, like I can't be worried about my lights going off. I can't worry about food being not in my fridge. I can't worry about not being able to buy presents for my kids, or like buy what they need. Like I have to be able to like sustain my life. And so I hired a business coach, and then he was like, because before I was telling you before we got on, I was like, in a prior life right before this, I was known as the Butterfly Beth, and I used to do aura readings and psychic readings and all that stuff. And he was like, what is the Butterfly Beth? Like, what is that? And I said, well, it's me. And he goes, yeah, but tell people who you really are. And so to embody that true calling that I have within of, I am a death doula. And he's like, death's rule of death. It just rolls off your tongue. So
Yeah.
Out of death comes life.
Right.
Well, I think that's interesting because I now know 3 death doulas, and all 3 death doulas that I know do have a connection with the spiritual in that way, psychic, medium, whatever those things are. So I'll be honest with you, when I first heard of the term, I thought those things are connected, but evidently you can be a death doula and not necessarily have some kind of psychic abilities.
Yeah, it's actually not. Some death doulas they go that route. And it's more like the spiritual sense, and you're performing rituals, and I know that there are some that do crossovers and those sort of rituals. I'm more of the mindset of I'm a human having a human experience. And death is probably the most human experience that we can experience, but it's also the most spiritual moment of our lives. And so how can we combine the two where like it's the most scariest experience that we have. Like even me as a death doula who's witnessed hundreds of deaths, I'm still scared. Like I'm like, is it going to hurt? Like when is it going to happen? It's this great unknown, right? And what happens afterwards? And we hear of like near-death experiences and like what they've experienced. So there's a lot of peace that comes with that, but there's also that that piece where how can I talk to our humanness? Like we are all human, and if we can approach each other in a very human to human side, then we can all be in the same thing together. And that's where like my approach comes in. Not that anyone's wrong or right or better or less than. It's just everyone and there are people that really want that spiritual, like I need help crossing over. I need you to help me cross over. I would like that ritual with the sage and all that. And I'll do that if they ask for it. They have to advocate for that. And we go over that when we pre-plan.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. We have reached the top of the hour.
Oh my God, already?
So I just want to take a moment to reset here. If you've joined us since the beginning of the show, tonight our guest is Beth Montgomery, death doula. We are talking about death and all of those things that can go along with it, and kind of how to prepare for that, and what goes along in those different stages. If you have a question, whether you're listening or watching on Twitch or over on YouTube or on Facebook, feel free to put a question in chat or a comment, and we can get that passed along to our guest tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you being here. And I guess we can go ahead and get on with the show. I guess the next thing I wanted to talk about, or to kind of lead into what we had.
Hold on, Frosty, before we go on to something else. CMC did give some information about the air burials. A few people have done that, and they cost $2,500 to $25,000 for a symbolic portion of the ashes. Woo!
All right, CMC.
Yeah. Goodness gracious.
Now I know. Thank you.
Yeah. So, it's kind of one of those things that I was thinking about. Like I said, being, having gone through some of these things, I guess as you get older, you get more familiar with death. And the thing that I've really realized recently is like every time I've had a death that's been someone that was closer to me, I kind of enter this fog state of like, everything just kind of doesn't seem real, and things just like time kind of passes by and I can't quite kind of snap out of it, and everything is a little bit surreal. And so, what you do as a death doula is really important, I think, because the people who are being most affected by it at that time are in such a, I don't know, they're kind of in a position where it's hard for them necessarily to know what to do, or and they're like questioning themselves.
People that have to make all the decisions are the ones that are having the biggest impact about it usually.
Yeah.
And that's what I find too. It's interesting. People hire me for the person who's dying, and then the person who's dying is like, I'm okay with this. Like, I don't care. Like if they've been so feared up about death and dying, everybody has gotten to a point where they've gotten at peace. Like there's this peace that I can't explain, right? We just come to that place of peace, and they're like, I'm worried about them. And so my role then becomes more so directed towards the family. Like, this is all normal part of the process. Like, the changes in the breathing, the changes in the skin tone, the changes in their loved one. We stop eating, we stop drinking, and that's normal. We want that. We want a dehydrated body because that's easier for the body to labor out of this life. But it's so counterintuitive to what we're taught.
Mm-hmm.
And same goes
Yeah.
for our animals too. And so my job then becomes be a supporter for the family.
So is that why people that are on their way out stop drinking and eating? It's like almost like your body knows what is happening. It knows what to do. So it stops wanting those things.
Our bodies are so smart.
Yeah.
They know how to die. They know how to die. Our bodies just intuitively know what it needs. Just like a woman giving birth. Like, the doctors don't tell them to push. The woman's body's like, I got to push.
I have to push. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's sort of for the people who haven't given birth, it's like, I really have to take a number.
Yeah. I got to poop. Yeah.
I don't know if I can say that, but it's like,
the body I got to poop. Yeah. Well, I always wondered why people didn't want to eat and drink at the end. Mm-hmm. It's our body naturally trying to make it easier for us.
Yeah, our bodies are naturally shutting down. Like it starts from outward, inward. And so when you think about body systems, the circulation to the feet and the hands, the changes in skin color will happen at that point. And that's all normal. We love to see that. That's the body doing its thing. And then as the circulatory system is shutting down and not being able to reach the fingers and the toes and the legs, then comes the digestive system. And that all really slows down because it takes a lot of energy to digest your food and to process the water. And so, then it goes to your lungs, and then your heart, and then the brain is the last to go. So if you're around someone, if you're experiencing someone who's on hospice, or, you come across someone who is in the process of laboring out of this life, the hearing is the last to go. So they can still hear, they can still know that you're there. And so like, that's why having an ambiance of what they want, I had my first death doula client was like, I want to go out and a party, like party to the nine. She had her friends over, they were watching a movie. It was funny. They were laughing. They just had a big crab, dinner, crab legs and all this stuff. And then they were watching the movie. They turned around and she was gone. And she went out the way that she wanted to, right?
That's amazing.
She wanted to hear laughter and her friends and everything. And, you have the other people that are like, I want to listen to, beautiful music, or I want to smell incense, and I want to hear like people chanting, or I want to hear people saying that they love me and, that they're okay. And it all depends on the person.
Yeah.
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 We had a question from Luce. What's your go-to book list about death?
Yeah. Oh, I have a lot of good ones. Right off the top of my head, hospice nurse Julie wrote a book, and it talks all about the process of death and dying. So if you're interested in the human side of like the process of death and dying, that is the book to get. Nothing to Fear is the title of it. The 5 Invitations is a really nice one about the spirituality and like the invitations that death does bring us. Oh boy, Death Nesting is about pre-planning and like how you want your death nest to be. And so like really getting into that sort of thing. Plus it has a really cool cover and I love it. And oh gosh, there's so many good ones. I don't have the list in front of me, but it is in my course. I have a whole list of books for, aspiring death doulas to get those books. Yeah.
I love that a lot of the language that you're using are the same words for the birth theme, like labor, doula, nesting. It's all the like the same stuff.
Oh yeah.
Well, it is like we're laboring out of this life. If the first time I saw someone die, the gentleman, my ex-father-in-law, it's like a labor, like, and we were like, it's okay to go. It's okay to go. And we were wondering why, like, I was wondering why he wasn't going. I was like, we're telling him it's okay to go. Like, just go. And it's not like the movies. It's not like the shows. It's not like the books. It's like, it's this very arduous process. And if we're not used to seeing that, it can be very traumatic. And so like, when it comes to this process of laboring out. Like, it is such a labor, it is. Sometimes it's quick, sometimes it's really long and drawn out, whatever long and drawn out looks like for you. Maybe it's a day, maybe it's a week. It's a process.
Mm.
Yeah, well, I never heard that the terminology used like that in school. Go ahead, Rusty.
I was just going to continue off Luce's question. I was going to ask if she had a suggestion too, since she asked a question, to put it in chat. If you have one, Luce, one of your go-to books about death. Bringing that up, I mean, I guess to a certain degree, when you talked about that, Jenny, about, using a lot of these same words for a birth, I mean, I guess for a lot of people, there is going to be an idea of that being, I guess, maybe the first step of a rebirth. It's just another cycle of that. So
yeah, going in and coming in and going out.
Yeah. Well, we are sort of birthing into a new existence. I mean, when we were in our mother's womb, we didn't know what was on the other side. We just knew that was our existence. And we don't remember it, but we know that it happened because we're here,
Yeah.
And so we're getting birthed into this different existence, whatever that looks like. It's just a change in energy.
We just don't get to see outside of this womb right now, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
like it could be just
can't
going
see
right
when we're in the womb either. I guess it's kind of the same thing, right?
And it depends on your belief system afterwards. Like, do you get reincarnated? Do you get to haunt your loved ones? I do get to haunt my loved ones a little bit after. Luce, that book is a good one. That's the other one I was thinking of. The Art of
Dying Well.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so more questions. I always got lots of questions. So you're also a Reiki master.
Yes.
How often do you get to incorporate that into your death doula work, and how do you use it?
A lot. And we do Reiki even though we don't call it Reiki. When you say, I'm thinking of you, that's Reiki. When we are giving someone a hug, that's Reiki. It's all just loving, kind energy. And so people will hire me on just to do Reiki to their loved one as they're dying, or like as I'm holding someone's hand, or as I'm, putting my hands, because we just need that touch. So that human touch. And so of course they give consent before I touch them. But usually Reiki isn't touch, like you don't touch during Reiki, but pretty much I send Reiki loving kindness energy to all the people that cross my path, whether they're dying or not.
Yeah.
But to actually do Reiki, the practice, the positions, just depends on if they want to hire me for that or not.
Yeah. Do you have a good a story or example of when that was really beneficial for someone?
Yeah. So I get this call from someone who referred, they were referred to me, and they said their loved one was in the hospital, and could I please come do some Reiki? And my rate's a little bit higher than a normal Reiki session just because I'm a death doula. This is my specialty. I'm usually there for longer than the 60 minutes. I'm there for like an hour and a half or two. And she's really I could tell that she really needed it. And so I went there, and I brought all my stuff. Sometimes I'll bring oil. Sometimes I'll bring like the room spray. It's different when it's in a hospital. Sometimes you can't burn incense or all that stuff. So I bring some of those things. And always, but with this one in particular, I was given the person Reiki, their loved one Reiki, and you could see the release happen. Like they're just it's like peaceful. And then not only that, but I'm giving Reiki to the person sitting next to them too, because we all need Reiki in that moment. Death is a very highly emotional experience. And so by the time I was all done, she was like, I'm really glad that you came, and, you incorporated me into the Reiki practice. And, I wish more people were to open their eyes to the benefits of Reiki.
Yeah.
And that, because even in there's moments like, her breathing changes, and I'm like, oh, that's normal. Because like as soon as someone's like breathing changes or something's happening or like what's going on, because we get hyper vigilant during those times. Being a death doula, this is all normal. This just means that she's really relaxed now. This is a good thing. And to be able to say that as, we're performing Reiki, it's a beautiful thing. So it puts the person who loves them at ease as well.
That's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's getting more and more popular, understood. More people are learning about it and understanding it. So yeah, I hope that it just continues that way.
Yeah, I do too. There's a couple hospitals that, there's, volunteers that do Reiki, and they have those volunteers to do Reiki for their patients.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Allison has a cool comment. Curious of how you die is a similar experience to how you were born. As in, if your body was traumatic, if your birth was traumatic or long and drawn out, that your death would also be the same as that.
I'd like to believe no. I say that with a light heart, because there was one woman I sat with for over a year. She was on hospice for over a year, which is like, you're like, whoa, over a year.
That's a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, but I really got to know her. We shared stories. She told me about her life. She told me about all these things. She had a really hard life. She had a really hard birth. And she was like, at the end of her life. And at the very end, she had a very beautiful death. A hard life, but a beautiful death.
That's good.
And it was picture perfect. She was in no pain. She knew where she was going. She had a lot of peace in her heart, and she was able to release and be free.
Yeah. That brings another question to me. I haven't had the experiences, obviously, that's like a death doula's had with death, but I do know for some of the ones that I've been around where they were dying essentially from old age, where they had reached 80, 90 years old, my grandmother being one of them, very much at the end started getting visitations.
Yeah.
Like, I saw so-and-so came to see me last night, and your grandfather came to see me last night, and I've been going places with them at night. I've been going and I've been visiting places, and I can't wait to see them more. Is this something, are these stories that you hear as you're getting to know people when they get to that end?
Oh yeah. That's my favorite part of the whole job.
Yeah.
They start telling me about like mom is here, dad is here, and uncle's here, my dog's here. Oh my gosh, my dog is here.
Yeah.
And like it happens up to a month and a half before time of death. And there's no scientific explanation for it. They call it visioning. That's like the technical term. They call it in hospice paperwork and everything. It's called visioning. But, they're like, I feel like we all have the psychic power, right? To be able to tap into what's beyond. And, the veil is very thin at that point. And so they get to see, I was so hoping that we would talk about this. Like that's like my favorite part of the whole dying process. And, I know that we're not alone. I had this guy that was complete atheist. He was like, when I die, it's just black. I just go into the earth and that's it. Like pure atheist, like just not believe it. He looked at me one day, he goes, my mom is here. There is something beyond here. And I was like, full body chills. And it's just so beautiful when it happens. And I'm just like, what are they saying? And you get really curious about it. And like, it's different than a hallucination, because hallucinations do happen. But depending on, some people have seen like who they worship, like Jesus or Buddha or, Allah, like they will say, yeah. And started to Jesus, yeah. And so I'm like, there is no one way, perhaps, there's like so many different ways. And like, the beautiful thing about it is like death is a universal experience, and we all experience this beautiful thing. And the most common people that they see are people who have died before them and say, don't worry, I'm going to be here. I'm going to walk you home.
I have a fun story of Frosty's grandma when she was having dementia too. So we went to visit her, and she
Oh.
was saying that there was her sister was there, and she was talking about her sister. And I brought up the sister's name, and she looked at me and she's like, she's been dead for, X number of years
30
or
years.
whatever.
Yeah. Mhm.
But she had also been talking about seeing her husband.
Because she
So
had
it's like
one
she
sister.
clearly
Yeah.
knew that like her sister was not living, but she was also seeing her husband. But it turns out that her like sister-in-law actually was in the same facility as her, and that's what she was talking about. But I was bringing it up because it was like she's seen someone who's passed, but when I brought up someone else who has passed, she very clearly knew that it was like that was not an option,
No, she was dead.
Yeah. How dare I even ask it? What?
Yeah, that was one of the most surreal experiences I've ever had. Because
Yeah.
here I am wheeling my grandmother through the nursing home, and she's like, "My sister's here. You want to see her? You want to go hang out with her?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Sure," So I'm like wheeling her. She's like, "Oh, she's down here." We get all the way to the room, and it turns out it's my aunt. But it was like her childhood best friend who married my uncle. So she wasn't like blood relative, and I had no clue that she was in the same facility. So they had been hanging out every day, like playing cards and just having a blast in the nursing home. Yeah. So it was great. But I thought for sure that she was like, well, she doesn't quite know exactly what's happening here. But she did. She knew exactly what was going on.
She knew.
I was the one, and you were the one who didn't know.
Yeah, we were both like, Anyway. Okay, so people that are passing or seeing their loved ones, for you yourself in all of these situations that you've been in with these people who have one foot in and one foot out, have you yourself had any paranormal experiences during in your time as a death doula?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, so I'll keep it on my own experience, because when it comes to being in other people's energy, like I always like to ask for permission, even though I do sense other beings there. So after my first death doula client died, I was in the shower and I was doing my ritual of like releasing and just like thanking and all that stuff. And she came to me and she was like sassy. Like you guys would have loved her. She was sassy. She was like smart.
We do love a sassy lady, that's for sure.
Native and like super, like had all this artwork, and she just had things going on. Like she was just like, she knew what she wanted and that's it. Like no questions asked.
Yeah.
So I really admired that sense of like how she was. And she came to me in the shower and I was like, of all places, the shower. She goes, it's fine. And like, exactly, right. And I go, thank you so much for letting me be with you during this time. And she goes, honey, you helped me more than I helped you. And I was like, she's like, I'm gonna do you a favor. I'm gonna leave a little piece of me in you so that you will always have that little bit of sassy in you. And she touched my heart, and it was like part of her finger and came into mine, and part of her became part of me. And I felt that shift, and I was like, oh, I could be sassy like her now. And so, like she was in her 50s, like, we just never know when that time happens. So she really taught me, like, do the things now before you don't have the time left. And she went into the hospital. She thought she was just going in to get the medicine because she wasn't feeling well. And then she left with a pancreatic cancer diagnosis and was like, I got a week to live. And she barely had a week. So it was like,
wow,
live life today.
Yeah. You never know.
Yeah.
That's wild. Well,
a little bit of everybody. I get a little bit of everybody. I see them all the time. They come and they kind of talk to me and, little bit words of wisdom.
I love that.
Wow.
Yeah. Because our loved ones are always around us. You guys
Yeah, we know.
Yeah. You're watching, you remember.
That's really nice, though, that the people that you're helping come to see you afterwards, like they're letting you know you did your job, like, thank you. Yeah.
Always grateful. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I don't usually care about that anywhere else. Like, I'm like, yes, I get to talk about those kind of things. Like my inner circle knows, but like, you know,
Mhm.
when I'm out there and educating about what a death doula does, like I want people to take this work seriously because it's
Right.
a real important piece of the puzzle of life, and we need all
Yeah.
the help we can get.
Yeah.
So I can't be talking about like.
Well, I hope it becomes more normal,
mean,
though,
it's
that people realize that that's also part of it.
It is very much part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of the great human mysteries, right? I mean, how much time and effort have we spent on trying to understand what exists on the other side?
Right.
And so, to be able to get some idea of what's going on there. I mean, it's a huge part of what I think most people, I won't say everybody, but definitely what most people are looking for is those answers. So anything you can get there is huge, even nothing else, just for like your own comfort and knowing, that there is the something on the other side,
Mhm.
Yeah.
But it's still the great adventure. We just don't know.
Mhm. Just,
Right.
and we can never know for sure.
Yeah. And so if we
Never know for sure.
with this excitement,
Mhm.
of this journey continuing. And the one thing I know is true is the way we die is the way we lived. And so if we live in this constant state of fear, this constant state of being tightened or lack of or controlling, the more that we surrender, the more that we allow, the more that we ask for help, like we have to
Mhm.
ask for help, and the more that we just allow more gratitude and love into our hearts, the easier that death will be, and so we can only
Mhm.
get there by practicing it a little bit at a time. And
Let's repeat that one line for all the people in the back. You have to ask for help. I'll
yeah,
Mhm.
listen to that too. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's a hard one for a lot of people.
Oh gosh, absolutely. Like, hey, but like it's not like you got to jump in and be like, "Hey, can you help me change my diaper?" It's more like, "Hey, can you help me get a cup of coffee?
Yeah.
Hey, can
Mhm.
you grab that thing over there for me?" Like try little bids for requests first, and then it gets a little bit easier. Like, and then you can talk to your friends. Like maybe start off with your significant other and then start asking friends, "Hey, can you show up for me? I'm having a really hard day." Or, "Hey, when you come over, can you pick up a bag of rice?" I don't know.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Weird to ask for, but
Yeah, because I don't think a lot of people realize that, especially for friends and family, they are looking for a way to help.
Mhm.
Like you
Yes.
can feel like you kind of can feel useless. Sometimes like you want to do something. And actually something you said at the beginning of the show reminded me of this as well. Is one of the things that I've been working on is this idea of like when you were talking about just saying like I'm thinking about you can
Mhm.
be like, be a step in working on something like that, is actually actualizing that. Like when I say those words like, hey, I'm sending positive thoughts your way, and actually taking the time, the couple of minutes to actually make sure that I am sending those positive intentions and positive thoughts, and that I am making effort to keep them in there, because it can be powerful, and
Yeah.
it can be something that can positively help or manifest something for that person.
Absolutely. Well, we're all
Yeah.
full of energy, and just to piggyback using corporate
Mhm.
lingo, piggyback on that. And I know we're getting close to time, so I'll keep it short. But when we have that moment where we're like, "I'm thinking of this person," and then they call or they text, and you're like, "I was just thinking about you." It's that
Right.
Mhm.
of like
Mhm.
sometimes, like even though like we don't feel comfortable in texting that or calling, just knowing that that energy is still felt no matter what
Yeah.
is a beautiful thing.
Mhm.
Yep. We're all connected, folks. So I have one last question that might have a way big answer to it, but it can just be a simple yes. So a lot of what we talked about tonight is helping people that are in the process of dying, the laboring of dying, like you're talking about. But do death doulas also help people that have people that pass unexpectedly?
Oh yeah,
Like they're
absolutely.
already gone and they need help.
Yeah, yeah. So there's three. I call it three sections to three scopes of work that a death doula does. before death, like pre-planning. How do you want your funeral? You're healthy. There's no diagnoses. There's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Pre-plan. The during is like you get the diagnoses, you're in the process of dying, and it's getting close. That's when I usually get the calls. And then afterwards, with the grief and the legacy, and how do I keep their memory alive? How can I memorialize this person? When funerals happen, it's often, and there's no plan in place. There's often so many decisions that are made that they can't be present. And so when you're in that state, you're just saying, yes, I think that's what they want. That's what, that's, there's a lot of guilt involved. And so like, I've done plenty of rememorialization like ceremonies for people because that time wasn't, built out for them. I've helped people build altars. My significant other lost his daughter. And so we helped build her an altar, and it's just a beautiful thing, right? So to memorialize our loved ones in a way that like in the moment of like immediate crisis afterwards, like we're not making the smartest decisions, or maybe the decisions were already made, but they weren't something that we wanted. So how can we make that differently? How can we rewrite that story? How can we touch on that belief and, change it so that it's a more positive, beautiful one? And so we can ultimately connect to our ancestors who have passed on before us so they can speak into us today.
All right. Well, Beth, we had an absolutely wonderful conversation tonight. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me on. I love this conversation. I appreciate the invitation, and I look forward to maybe another talk sometime.
Yes, I think so. And before we go, will you let everybody know where they can find you?
They can find me at www.deathdoulabeth.com or on YouTube is where I'm at most. And you can find me at Death Doula Beth on all the social medias.
And the link for the website and the YouTube are pinned up at the top of the Twitch chat, and they're in the other places. And Frosty will have them in the comments listed below if you're listening at another time.
Yeah, so if you're listening at another time, another place, all those links will be listed down in the description down below. So make sure if you enjoyed the conversation tonight that you go follow Beth over on YouTube, because there's lots of content over there for you to check out if you're interested in that. Once again, Beth, thank you so much for joining us tonight. For all of you listening at another time and another place, we will see you all next time. And for everyone who's hanging out with us tonight, I do want to, for a little bit longer, I do want to mention that next week we are going to have, next week begins our, let's call it the road to Teamwork Takeover.
Okay,
We're going to be joined by Andrew Warburton next week. So
I love Andrew.
Next week we talk fairies. So join us next week for fairies. Let's see who we have over on Twitch, and we will go raid out to someone tonight. We have, let's see, Shamanic Awakening, Movie Mondays, Ritual Cape Cod. Let's go see Ritual Cape Cod.
Okay.
Ritual Cape Cod. We'll go out and raid them. Jenny, do you want to update everybody on your week before we head on?
This is my crazy week at work, so this is probably the only time you're going to see me. I love you.
We will catch back up next Monday with Andrew Warburton. All right. Okay. Go throw up all the UFOs and aliens and whatever you want to throw up, and let them know Teamwork Takeover, the Witching Hours is there tonight. Take care, everybody. See you again soon.
Bye. Thank you.